You're watching Forsaken Joe. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Enjoy the story. Let's begin. I opened the door and stepped inside, letting the click of the latch echo behind me. The house smelled like eucalyptus and lavender, Vanessa's usual after-bath routine. I dropped my keys in the bowl by the entry and loosened my tie with one hand, still half in the mindset of that last-minute investor meeting I barely made it to. The steam was still drifting out of the master bathroom when I walked past. That's when I heard her humming. I stepped into the doorway and found her there, draped in a towel, legs crossed on the edge of the tub, like this was just another Tuesday. "Well," she said, smiling lazily, "now that I've got clarity from Darren, you're welcome to touch me again, if you're still into that sort of thing." I stared at her. I didn't flinch. I didn't yell. I just breathed in slow and let the words sit between us. "Vanessa," I said calmly, "I know everything." Her head tilted a bit, like she hadn't quite heard me. "The affair," I continued, still even. "The hotel in Santa Monica, the texts, the keycard logs. Darren's wife will know everything by sundown." She blinked once, then again. "You're bluffing," she said. "No," I replied. "I'm not." The room seemed to shift then, like the air thickened. The smirk on her face dropped just a fraction. "I didn't want it to be like this," I added, walking over to the dresser. "But you gave me no choice." Her voice rose a pitch. Wait a minute. What are you talking about? What did you do?" "Check your bank app," I said. She didn't move at first. Just sat there staring at me like I was speaking another language. But then, curiosity, or panic, got the better of her. She reached for the phone on the counter, unlocked it, tapped the screen. That's when it hit her. Her fingers twitched. Her expression collapsed. The towel slipped a bit, but she didn't even notice. She was staring into the glow of her screen like it was a portal to hell. "You emptied it," she whispered. "The joint account." "The one under my name," I said. "I set it up. I closed it. All legally." She jumped to her feet, dripping water and confusion. "That's theft. You can't just—" "Actually, I can, and I did. Don't worry, you'll be able to afford plenty of eucalyptus oil with what you've stashed from your office gossip circles." Her mouth opened like she wanted to say something else, something mean, probably, but nothing came out. I turned to leave. "Lucas," she called after me, her voice suddenly softer. But I didn't turn around. I'd already played the final card. She was just now realizing the game was over, and I was already walking away. 2 days earlier, I was sitting in my cubicle, hunched over 2 glowing monitors, my fingers aching from hours of spreadsheet work. As a mid-level financial analyst at Dorsey & Greer, most of my life was buried in numbers, trends, forecasts, reports. It wasn't glamorous, but it paid the bills and kept my mind sharp. It was nearly 9 p.m. I was the last one in our row of desks, save for the janitor, who kept giving me sympathetic glances. I had just finished reworking a client's risk profile when my phone buzzed. Vanessa again. Another text about going for a clearing walk. That made 3 nights this week. Before, she used to text me pictures of the sky or our cat doing something stupid. Lately, all I got were vague updates and weird emojis. I stared at the screen for a while. Then I looked through our recent messages. Cold, distant, short. It was like texting a coworker you barely liked. I clicked open her location on Find My, a habit I never thought I'd pick up. She was in Brentwood again. Same neighborhood, same general radius as the other 2 nights. She always said she was walking by the park near our old friend Margot's place, but even that excuse felt half-hearted now. I knew what my gut was telling me, and I hated it. I leaned back in my chair, staring at the ceiling tiles until my vision blurred. I didn't want to be the kind of man who spied on his wife, but I wasn't going to be the kind of man who got blindsided either. So, I made the call. Jorge answered on the second ring. His voice had that gravelly no BS tone I remembered from back when we worked together briefly. He'd left the hedge fund world to run a boutique PI firm. Smart guy, trusted him. "Lucas," he said, "haven't heard your voice in a while. What's up?" "I need a confirmation," I said, keeping my tone neutral. "I think my wife's cheating on me." Jorge didn't flinch. "How fast you need the truth?" "Yesterday." He chuckled. "Text me the details." "I'll get on it tonight." By noon the next day, I had a file in my inbox. Jorge didn't play around. There were time-stamped photos of Vanessa and Darren walking into a boutique hotel spa in Beverly Hills, holding hands, close, familiar. Not like coworkers. Definitely not like friends. Another shot. Them having drinks on a rooftop bar. She was laughing in a way I hadn't seen in months. Not like she was having fun. More like she had forgotten I existed. The worst one was them leaving the hotel around 11 p.m., Darren's arm around her waist, her keys in her hand. I stared at that photo the longest, my jaw clenched, my fingers curled tight around the edge of my desk. It was Darren, a guy I knew, a broker at my firm, married, 2 kids. We'd even had lunch once. I remember him bragging about his beach house while I pretended to care. I closed the file, and then, quietly, methodically, I began my exit. I logged into our joint credit cards and reduced her limits to $100. I transferred funds out of our shared savings into a private account in my name. Everything legal, everything traceable. My name was the only one on those forms anyway. I set up alerts for any unusual purchases. I called a friend in IT to wipe my personal info off the home laptop. I didn't sleep that night, but for the first time in a long while, I wasn't confused anymore. I knew exactly what I had to do, and I was already a step ahead. Darren lived in a gated community in Sherman Oaks, a polished neighborhood full of clean sidewalks, manicured lawns, and silent secrets. I pulled up around noon on Saturday. My heart was steady, which surprised me. I thought I'd be angrier. I thought my hands would shake. But all I felt was clarity. I walked up the stone path and rang the bell. A few seconds passed. Then the door cracked open just enough for a teenage girl to peer out. She had Darren's cheekbones and Vanessa's attitude. God help us all. Before I could say a word, she yanked the door wide open and raised a golf club to shoulder height like a warrior. "Try something," she said flatly. "I will break your face." I blinked. "I'm not here to hurt anyone." She narrowed her eyes, then dropped the club an inch. "Who are you?" "My name's Lucas. I work with your dad. I need to talk to your mom." The girl, Becca, I was pretty sure, squinted at me for a second, then stepped aside without a word. "She's in the kitchen, already crying, so..." Good timing. I walked through their pristine living room, past family photos that probably hadn't been real in years, and into a white marble kitchen. Erica sat at the island, tissue clutched in one hand, a half-empty glass of wine in the other. Her mascara was smudged, but she looked composed underneath it. When she saw me, she didn't gasp or ask who I was. She just stared. "I figured you'd come," she said quietly. "I'm sorry," I replied. But I couldn't stay silent. She gestured to the stool beside her. "Sit. Let's get this over with." I handed her a plain manila envelope. Inside were the photos Jorge took, the hotel receipts, the GPS data showing Darren's phone pinging from the spa on nights he claimed to be working late. Erica didn't cry. She didn't scream. She just studied each page like she was grading a term paper, nodding slowly, one hand trembling slightly as she flipped through. "I found some of the texts last night," she said after a while, "on his Apple Watch. He's not even smart enough to delete them." I didn't speak. I let her talk. "He used my car," she went on, a bitter laugh escaping. "Every time, I wondered why the mileage was off. Thought I was imagining it. But no, he was just using me as cover." "You didn't deserve that," I said. She looked up at me, something soft and broken in her eyes. "Neither did you." For a few minutes, we sat there in silence. Just 2 people dragged through the same mud. Then we heard the garage door rumble. Becca appeared in the hallway, eyes sharp. "Incoming," she muttered and vanished upstairs. The front door swung open. "Hey babe, Darren froze mid-step. He blinked when he saw me sitting at the kitchen island, then saw the envelope in Erica's hands. His face drained. "Lucas?" he croaked. I stood up, calm, still. "Darren." He looked between us, trying to play dumb. What's going on?" Erica rose to her feet, voice flat. "Your coworker stopped by with some interesting reading material." "Okay, hold on." Darren raised his hands, backing up a step. "This isn't, whatever this is, it's out of context." "You used my car, Darren," she snapped. "You had sex with another woman while your children were asleep upstairs. Don't insult my intelligence now." He looked at me, like I'd help him somehow. "Lucas, come on, man. It's not like this was personal." "Actually," I said, "it was exactly that." He opened his mouth again, probably to spin another lie. But Erica beat him to it. "Get out," she said, quiet, sure. Go pack a bag. You're not sleeping here tonight." The silence that followed was heavy and deserved. I didn't say goodbye. I didn't need to. The truth had already spoken for me. Darren tried to spin it. Of course he did. He followed us into the living room like a man desperate to rewind time, hands flailing, voice cracking under the weight of his unraveling mask. "Look," he said, pacing in front of us. "Was it wrong? Yes. But it wasn't what you think. It wasn't love or anything. It was just escape. That's all it was. A break from pressure. You know how work has been, Erica. You know how life piles on." Erica sat still on the edge of the armrest, arms crossed, eyes narrowed. "Pressure? You disappeared for entire nights. Used my car like I was your secretary. That's not pressure, Darren. That's deception." He turned to me next. "Lucas, man, she came on to me. Vanessa, she's intense. I didn't plan this. We were drinking after a late trade review and—" "Save it," I cut in. I wasn't raising my voice. I didn't need to. Everything I had to say lived in the facts. The hotel bills, the spa charges, the text history. She's not a succubus, Darren. You weren't lured. You made choices. You lied, you cheated, and you used both of us to do it. His mouth opened like he was about to protest. But that's when the golf club hit the ground. Becca stood at the foot of the stairs, arms folded across her chest. Her face was flushed, her jaw tight. "You're disgusting," she said, not shouting, just letting the venom carry in her words. "Becca," he started, but she was already moving. She stormed past the couch, grabbed the club she'd dropped, and in one clean motion hurled it across the room. It slammed into the far wall with a heavy thunk, leaving a dent in the drywall before bouncing to the floor. Darren flinched like it had hit him instead. "You destroyed this family for a thrill?" she spat. "You made Mom cry. You made me feel like I was crazy for asking questions." He started to tear up, of course. "I didn't want to hurt anyone. You just wanted to get away with it," Erica replied coldly. Silence followed, long, dragging, and well-earned. Darren tried one last plea, looking to Erica like she owed him something. "I know I messed up, but we can talk about this, right? I mean, for the kids." "Don't," she said. Her voice was steel. He turned back to me. "What about you, Lucas? You're not going to tell her everything, are you? I mean, Vanessa's going to lose it. She'll twist it around." "I already did," I said. He blinked. "What?" "I told Vanessa I knew," I repeated. "And I told her that your wife would know by sundown. That's now." For a moment, he just stood there, like he'd just realized he was alone in a burning room. I pulled an envelope from my coat pocket and dropped it onto the coffee table. "Those are copies of everything Jorge found. Keep them." Then I turned to Erica. "You don't need to clean this up for him, not this time." She gave a small nod, and I walked out the front door. The sun had started to set, casting a quiet glow on the pavement. As I reached my car, I glanced back through the window. Inside, Darren had sunk to the couch, head in his hands, while Erica sat apart from him, unmoving. I left the pictures behind. He could sit with his truth. I had mine. And it was finally quiet. Monday morning, the apartment was almost silent, except for the occasional scrape of cardboard against tile. Jorge's guys were good, quiet, fast, professional. Everything I owned was already in boxes, labeled and ready to go. The last few shirts were coming off the hangers when I heard the key twist in the front door. Vanessa walked in wearing yoga leggings and that oversized hoodie she used to steal from me. Her hair was pulled back, sunglasses on her head. She looked like she'd just come from a spin class, completely untouched by consequence. She stopped cold in the doorway. "What the hell is going on?" I didn't answer right away, just handed the movers a box and pointed toward the hallway. Let her sit in the confusion a little longer. "Lucas?" she said, her tone sharper now. "Are you moving out?" "No," I said. "You are. Or you will be, once the lease transfer's over." She blinked at me, genuinely thrown off. "You're serious?" I nodded. "Dead serious." She tossed her keys on the counter, lips parting like she was about to launch into a performance. Okay, let's just take a breath. What are we doing right now, huh? Is this really about one mistake?" I tilted my head. "One?" She walked over, close enough to reach out. Her voice softened. "I panicked, Lucas. I was lonely. You've been working late for months. I didn't know where we were anymore." "Where we were?" I asked. "We were in a marriage. I was working to build something. You were screwing Darren at a spa hotel." That stopped her in her tracks. Her jaw tightened. "You don't understand what it's like." "No," I interrupted. "I understand perfectly. You got bored. You cheated. And now that you're caught, you want to rewrite the story." She folded her arms and switched tones like flipping a light. "So that's it? You're just going to leave me? Throw away everything we built?" "I didn't throw it away," I said. "You did." She paced now, the panic starting to bleed through. "You're being cold. You think this makes you powerful, walking away like this?" I met her eyes. "No, Vanessa. This makes me free." She froze. That one hit. "You emptied our account," she said, her voice lower. "You planned this." I didn't flinch. "I planned for a future. You made me realize it wasn't going to be with you." She stepped closer again, that old manipulative glint trying to flicker back into her eyes. "You don't have to do this. We can fix it. Let's go away for a week. Get perspective." "No." "Lucas," she said, placing her hand on my chest, voice suddenly syrupy. "We're still good in bed. You know we are." I took her hand and moved it off me. "Goodbye, Vanessa." She scoffed, mask cracking now. "You're going to regret this. You'll come crawling back." I grabbed the last box by the door and paused. Number, I won't. Then I stepped into the hallway, closed the door behind me, and blocked her number before the elevator even arrived. By the time I reached the street, the only thing I felt was relief. The messages started less than 12 hours later. At first, they came in waves. Vanessa's name kept flashing on my phone, each time with a new tone, pleading, furious, manipulative. It was like watching a roulette wheel of emotional instability. "Vanessa, please talk to me. You're blowing this up over nothing. I miss you. I didn't mean to hurt you. You're seriously acting like a child right now. Grow up. You're the only man I've ever really loved. Come home. Fine. Be a coward. You'll never find someone who knows you like I do." I didn't respond to a single one. I blocked her on my phone, then on email. Socials, too. I wasn't feeding the fire. I was done handing her matches. It was almost too quiet after that. But then, out of nowhere, my phone buzzed from an unfamiliar number. Erica. I stared at the name for a second before answering. "Lucas?" Her voice was soft, tired, but not broken. "Hey," I said, settling into the quiet of my car, parked outside my new apartment. "I just wanted to say thank you." I didn't speak at first. I could hear her exhale gently, like she was still wrapping her head around everything. I know it probably wasn't easy showing up like that, but you saved me weeks, maybe months, of living in denial. And Becca, she's angry, but she's clear-eyed now. That matters. I nodded, even though she couldn't see me. "You didn't deserve what he did to you." There was a pause. "Neither did you." We didn't talk long. Neither of us needed to rehash the pain. There was something comforting about how simple it was. No promises, no drama, just two people who understood each other without trying. Before we hung up, Erica hesitated, then said, "Would you want to grab coffee sometime?" I didn't rush to answer. "Yeah, I think I'd like that." After the call, I sat in silence for a few minutes, letting the peace of it settle into my bones. Later that week, I spotted Vanessa. I had just pulled into the gym parking lot when I saw her standing by the sidewalk, arms folded, eyes sharp. Darren stood across from her. They were mid-argument, if the hand gestures and sharp head shakes were any clue. I stayed in my car. Darren looked like a shell of the man who used to smirk through morning meetings. His shirt was wrinkled, his hair unkempt. He looked cornered. Vanessa kept stepping toward him, voice rising. He said something I couldn't hear, then turned and walked off toward his car. Vanessa followed him a step or two, then stopped cold. Her shoulders fell, her lips trembled. And then, right there on the sidewalk in broad daylight, she dropped to the curb and began to cry. Not the performative kind, the real kind, the heaving, uncontrolled kind that couldn't be staged. I watched from behind the glass, engine idling, and for the first time in weeks, I didn't feel a thing. No rage, no sadness, no flicker of nostalgia, just stillness. Eventually, she looked up and scanned the parking lot like she knew, like maybe she could feel me watching. But I didn't move. I waited a beat, then I shifted into reverse and backed out of the spot, never taking my eyes off the road. Vanessa was behind me now, in the mirror. where she belonged. It was just after 10 on a Thursday night when I heard the knock on my apartment door. I wasn't expecting anyone. I just made tea, ready to put on a movie and disappear into something fictional for a couple hours. But the knock came again, harder this time. I opened the door. Darren stood there, hunched and disheveled, with a week's worth of regret written all over his face. His eyes were bloodshot. He looked like he hadn't slept in days. His blazer was wrinkled, and his collar was stained with something that might have been takeout sauce or cheap whiskey. "Lucas," he said, voice barely holding itself together. I didn't invite him in. "What do you want?" He leaned one shoulder against the doorframe, already defeated. "She's gone. Erica kicked me out. Becca won't speak to me. I'm crashing at a hotel off Sepulveda." I crossed my arms. "Not my problem." He looked up at me with this pathetic half-smile, like we were still old coworkers trying to bond over late-night stress. "I just thought, maybe we could talk, man to man." I raised an eyebrow. "About what?" "The thrill that wrecked both our homes?" "I know I messed up," he said, his voice cracking. "God, I know. I thought I could handle it, compartmentalize. I didn't think it would all collapse like this. And yet," I said flatly, "it did." He ran a hand through his hair. "You don't get it, Lucas. She's everywhere. Vanessa. She won't leave me alone now. I blocked her number, and she showed up at my gym. Sent flowers to the hotel desk. Called Erica twice pretending to be a customer service rep, just to talk to me. That caught my attention. You're saying she's harassing you now?" He nodded, swallowing hard. "She keeps saying we were supposed to run away together, that she gave up everything for me. She's losing it." I let the silence stretch. "You still defending her?" I asked. He shook his head. "Number? I'm terrified of her." I gave a small nod, then backed up a step and started to close the door. "Wait, Lucas," he said, panic creeping in. "I didn't come to fight. I needed someone who knows what she's like." I stopped short. "Here's the thing, Darren. You don't get to come here looking for sympathy. You helped to dig this hole. You climbed in willingly." He didn't speak. "She's your problem now," I said, "just like she wanted to be." And I closed the door. That night, I stayed up later than usual, the TV flickering in the background while I half-scrolled through emails. Around midnight, my phone buzzed with a blocked number. One message. "I know where you live. Keep running, Lucas. You won't outrun what's coming." I stared at it for a long time. She hadn't signed it. Didn't need to. Vanessa's spiral was starting to gain speed. I didn't respond. I didn't panic. I just forwarded the message to myself and saved the screenshot in a folder labeled Protection, because I'd seen this coming, and I was ready for the next move. The envelope arrived on a Tuesday morning. Certified mail. A thick stack of documents inside, stamped and stapled and far too official for comfort. Vanessa was suing me for spousal maintenance. I almost laughed right there at the kitchen counter. The same woman who said I was dead inside 3 weeks ago, who called me a coward and a parasite while sobbing on the curb. That same woman now wanted me to finance her post-affair recovery. I didn't even finish the packet, just called Dana. Dana Evans, my attorney, was a stone-cold tactician, sharp, unshakable, and brilliant at boiling emotion down to bullet points. She took one look at the paperwork I forwarded and scoffed. "She's claiming financial abandonment," she said, flipping pages, "and emotional cruelty, classic pivot play." "She's got nerve," I said. "She's got nothing," Dana replied. "You've been carrying this marriage on your back for years, and we have proof of that now." She spent the next 3 days assembling the counteroffensive, bank records, proof of my solo income contributions, screenshots of hotel bookings in her name on nights she claimed to be at therapy, texts from her to Darren, every flirt, every plan, every late-night tryst documented and time-stamped. "This is textbook infidelity with financial motive," Dana said, scrolling through a color-coded spreadsheet. And she made the mistake of attaching it all to her digital footprint. Still, Vanessa didn't stop. A few days later, I ran into her in a grocery store parking lot. I had just tossed a few bags into my trunk when I heard her voice behind me. "Lucas," she called out. I didn't turn around right away. I was already bracing for whatever version of her was showing up this time. Charming, wounded, vengeful. It changed like weather. When I finally turned, she was standing there in a long coat, oversized sunglasses perched like armor. "We need to talk," she said. "No, we don't," I replied. She stepped closer. "This lawsuit, it doesn't have to be messy. We can settle, quietly. I just want what's fair." I closed the trunk. "Fair? You think you're the victim in all this? But you shut me out long before I met Darren. You made me feel like a roommate. You left me lonely." "Funny," I said. "You weren't too lonely at the spa hotel." She flinched but didn't back off. "I gave up years of my life for you," she said. "I deserve something." I pulled my phone out and held it up. "I'm recording this now, for legal purposes." Her eyes narrowed. "Are you serious?" "Dead serious." "Approach me again, and I'll have your attorney deal with a harassment claim." She didn't speak, just stood there, lips trembling with something between fury and disbelief. "I'm done being the bad guy in your rewrite," I added, "and I'm done giving you chances to spin the story." Then I got in my car and drove off, her figure shrinking in the rearview mirror. Later that night, Dana called with a final update. Her attorney tried to get clever, she said, claimed marital sacrifice and requested emergency spousal support. And I filed a motion to dismiss with cause and attached 26 exhibits, including text between her and Darren, dated while you two were still attending couples therapy. "Let her come," I said. "I want this on the record." "Don't worry," Dana said, calm and deadly. "We're not playing defense anymore." The courtroom was smaller than I expected. No grand marble columns, no echoing voices, just the sterile buzz of fluorescent lights and the quiet shuffling of lawyers with overstuffed briefcases. Vanessa sat across the aisle in a tailored navy dress that probably cost more than her share of the rent ever did. Hair sleek, makeup perfect. Her lawyer, some smarmy-looking guy named Bellman, leaned in close, whispering strategy while she nodded solemnly like a widow at a funeral. She didn't look at me. Dana sat beside me, calm as ever, flipping through the final tab of our folder like she was reviewing a grocery list. "You ready?" she asked without looking up. "More than." The judge came in. Older woman, no-nonsense face. She glanced over her glasses and got straight to it. Bellman stood first, launching into the expected monologue. "Your Honor, my client dedicated years to this marriage. She supported her husband's career by maintaining the home, only to be emotionally neglected and left without financial stability. She seeks a modest amount of monthly support to reestablish herself after this sudden and unjust separation." Dana didn't blink. Then Vanessa took the stand. She turned on the tears right away. "He used to come home late and just ignore me," she said, voice trembling. "I didn't feel like a partner anymore. I felt invisible. I tried to talk to him. I begged him to see me, but he pushed me away." The judge listened patiently, nodded once. Then Dana stood. "Mrs. Carter," she began, "how many days a week did you visit the Riviera Spa Hotel between March and May of this year?" Vanessa blinked. I don't remember." Dana smiled faintly. "Shall I refresh your memory? We have itemized statements, GPS logs, and security footage timestamps. 11 visits, all booked under your loyalty number, all within 3-hour windows. Do you know who accompanied you?" Bellman tried to object. The judge waved him off. Vanessa fumbled. It wasn't like that. I went for space, to think." "To think," Dana repeated. "Is that what the texts were about? I'd like to enter Exhibit 14 into the record. Messages between Mrs. Carter and one Darren Whitman. The quotes include, 'Next time I want to try that deep tissue sweet with you all night,' and 'I wish Lucas would leave already so we could stop hiding.'" The courtroom was silent. Even the clerk seemed to stop typing for a second. Vanessa's expression crumbled. Her lawyer leaned back, deflated. Dana didn't let up. She went through the bank records, the credit card charges, the messages, the call logs. Every excuse Vanessa tried to summon got swatted down with cold, indisputable evidence. Then it was over. The judge leaned forward, flipping a few pages. "In light of the evidence presented, the court finds no grounds for spousal maintenance. Furthermore, it appears the petitioner engaged in deceptive financial behavior during the marriage and demonstrated a pattern of dishonesty. Petition denied." Boom! The gavel came down. Dana packed up her folder like it was just another Tuesday. I stood, adjusting my cufflinks slowly, calmly. Vanessa remained seated, eyes frozen forward, as if the verdict hadn't registered yet. Bellman patted her shoulder. She shrugged him off. As I walked past their table, she finally looked up. Just for a second. Her eyes searched my face for something: mercy, anger, maybe even regret. But I had none of those left to give. I met her gaze once. Then I walked out the door and never looked back. Outside, the sun was blinding, and for the first time in months, it felt warm on my skin. It had been 3 weeks since the hearing, 3 quiet, blessedly uneventful weeks. Then one afternoon, a thin envelope arrived in my mailbox. No return address, just my name typed neatly on the front. Inside was a single sheet of paper, centered, plain font. "Lucas, I'm moving to Los Angeles. I need a fresh start. Don't worry, you won't hear from me again. Vanessa." No apology. No explanation, not even a signature. I read it once, folded it back up, and dropped it straight into the recycling bin. That was all the closure I needed. I didn't respond. I didn't even think about it again for the rest of the day. Silence had become my final word, and it spoke volumes. A week later, I met Erica for coffee. Neutral ground, a little cafe in Studio City with mismatched chairs and quiet music. We didn't hug, didn't dive into heavy conversation either. She wore no makeup, hair tied back, sipping a black coffee like it was armor. I ordered chamomile tea, still getting used to the slower rhythm of my life. "How's Becca?" I asked. "She's angry," Erica said, "but she's showing up, cleaning her room, talking to me. She asked if I wanted to take a trip this summer, just the 2 of us." "That's good," she nodded. "And Darren. Unemployed, staying with a buddy from his college days. Tried sending flowers. I tossed them in the trash. We sat in silence for a few beats, the kind that would have felt awkward with anyone else. "I'm not ready for anything new," she said eventually. "Just so we're clear." "I didn't come here for that," I said. "I just wanted to sit across from someone who gets it." She smiled, just a little. "Good." We talked about nothing after that. Books, podcasts, her new obsession with baking bread. I told her I was finally sleeping through the night again, waking up to the sound of nothing. No tension, no passive-aggressive sighs from the bathroom mirror. Before we left, she reached out and touched my hand. Just for a second. "I'm glad you told me," she said, "even if it blew up everything." "Sometimes everything needs to blow up," I replied. She gave me a soft nod, then walked to her car. No promises, no, "we should do this again." Just peace. When I got back to my apartment, Jorge's crew had finally delivered the last box, the one I'd left behind in the chaos. Old photo albums, a set of watches my dad left me, a cracked snow globe from our first vacation as a couple. I placed the box on the floor and opened it. I didn't cry. I didn't even pause. I just sorted it, tossed the globe, kept the watches. That night, I made dinner for one. Real food, not microwave garbage. I opened a bottle of wine I'd been saving for no particular reason, and I sat at the table with no one across from me. It was quiet, still, but for the first time, it didn't feel empty. I was done with Vanessa, done with pity, done with the part of myself that bent over backward for love that came with conditions. I didn't need chaos anymore. I needed this. The calm, the clean slate, the silence that didn't scream. I unpacked the last box, and I started again.